say thanks for accepting to answer our questions. Since the season is done, what did the coach told you about what he expect you to do uh, in the summer? So take some time off of hockey, get in shape,
Yeah.
or
I think the biggest focus for me and the feedback from Louis was just bringing the same level of level of play every game and every shift.
mhm. On a personal matter, well, I guess you're from the Toronto area. Can you give us a little bit um, and a little bit of information where you grew up exactly?
hmm Yeah, so I grew up in Oak Ridges. It's just a town inside of Richmond Hill. And that's actually where Jordan Bennington is from as well. I've never met him, but yeah, that's kind of the area I'm from. So I grew up going to private schools. I went to a really small private school called Richland Academy growing up, and I, had a really close group of friends there. And then I went to the country day school for middle school and high school. So yeah, I have two sisters, and I was actually born at this house. My older sister was born at a different house, but my sister and I were born here, where we're living now. And yeah, I've grown up here. All my friends are in Richmond Hill or Oak Ridges or King City. It's pretty different than living, in a downtown area like Toronto because your friends are so close together. But when you live in Richmond Hill and go to private school, your friends are sort of 20 minutes one way, 20 minutes the other. So it was different that way. But I've still got a close group of friends from my high school that we get together often and always stay in touch. I was hoping they would get out to a game in Gatineau this year, but we didn't go far enough to make the trip worth it. But yeah, that's just a little bit about Richmond Hill.
A normal season. It was
Yeah.
compared to what we've seen to see. It was kind of shorter. Even the playoffs were not the same kind of
hmm
playoffs
Yeah.
that we
Seriously.
used to see. So it's normal. And by the way, how did you find it with the new in the new arena in Gatineau?
Yeah.
How do you
No.
find the installations?
Yeah. It was. I remember coming in for my first day, and I came in the community doors, and I walk in, and I just see like this brand new practice facility, and then Raf, our assistant coach, took me inside and took me through the room, and I knew it was like a new arena when I first came, but I didn't realize like how professional and how close to the NHL quality that the rink would be. And that's the first thing I say is, like the league or sorry, the organization was just top notch, and it starts from the staff and obviously the details that they took building the arena and building the room because it was unreal. Like it's something that I will never forget. It's something I'll always appreciate is being able to experience that.
Mhm. I do imagine that they also help to motivate you when you play, especially when the arena is full. It must be a very different feeling than going at the other arenas in the Quebec Junior Hockey League, and it's
hmm
not exactly the same all everywhere.
Yeah, no, seriously. Especially my first game and I think the first game of the first round too. Um, it was packed my first game there, and you could tell that they were all excited for the new arena, or for the new arena. They were excited for a really good team, and it all just culminated together to have a really really awesome environment. And then that culminated into the first game of the first round when I ended up scoring the tying goal with a few minutes left. Like that's probably going to be the highlight of my career. I don't, unless there's like a game-winning championship goal, that was a really special feeling.
Hmm.
And I could just feel the energy of the fans. Like I don't know if you've seen the video, but as I skate to our bench. Like I didn't know what to do with my hands, and I like look at the fans. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I just like go like this, like yes. But yeah, no, seriously, that was really really special, and it's definitely a special place, and those fans deserve a team that's gonna win it all. And I think and it sucks that we were so close this year, but I think we're on the right track.
Yes. When you were young, well, how old were you when you started to play hockey?
I started when I was 6 years old. My first year was Timbits hockey. Um, so it was just basic house league, and then I trained a lot that summer because I had a conversation with my father, and he said, do you want to become a competitive player? And I said, yeah. So he said, okay, let's put together a plan to get you there. And I ended up being the last player to make the team at 7 years old, which was the travel team. And then I've just played, I guess, at the highest level that I possibly could ever since. Um, so that was just always AAA. But yeah, it started. I was a Leaf fan growing up, so I always wanted to be like Matt Sundin. Um, but number 13 was taken, so number 11 was my number as a kid as well.
Mm-hmm. And over the years, what made you decide to be a forward player?
Yeah, I think I was never like the biggest kid, and my dad wasn't that big, so I don't think anyone was thinking that they had to put me on defense. And I think I was always just naturally a forward, and honestly, I think my when I was younger, I don't think my I could think the game as well. And I think as a defenseman, especially when you're younger, and obviously when you're older, but when you're younger, not many kids can think the game as well, and you have to think the game pretty well as a defenseman when you're young, because you have to still be responsible for plays. So I was pretty skilled when I was younger, and I could shoot the puck. So I always played forward growing up.
Hmm. And the uh, with time, okay. Well, I guess to be an elite player, you had to make some sacrifices. Um, what are the sacrifices that you made, and were they worth it considering where you are today?
Hmm. Yeah, I think like the sacrifices I think that most people don't think of is sort of just time. Really, it's just a lot of time and effort. Um, when you're growing up, every evening you have a practice. You have a practice at and especially for me, the travel was probably 45 minutes to half an hour. So it was like 45 minutes to the rink. You need half an hour to get changed. You got an hour and a half practice. Then you have 20 minutes to get changed, and you got 45 minutes to get home. That's like 3 or 4 hours of your time that you're spending. And then sometimes you would have to sacrifice hanging out with your friends, especially as you get into the junior levels. As it becomes more serious, your friends are going out on a like a Thursday night, but you got to train Friday morning. So it's things like that where you know when you score goals like the tying goal in the last minute in the game one of the playoffs, where it feels worth it, and you're able to play at the highest level in the QMGHL or in the CHL especially. um, it's something I wouldn't trade for anything. So I've been extremely fortunate, but yeah, like uh, time isn't something you get back, but the experiences that I've gotten in the CHL is I wouldn't trade for anything.
Hmm. And uh, how did you become a member of the Gatineau Olympics, being an Anglophone player coming to play in the Francophone environment?
Hmm. Yeah, so I guess it's I was playing. So I had played for the Niagara Ice Dogs in the OHL for 2 years. I played my first year as a 16-year-old, and then I played as a 17-year-old, and then I think with like maybe 10 games left or 8 games left in our season, COVID happened. So I had been training for about a year and a half at home. I'm not really certain when we were going to come back. I ended up, going to camp in Niagara. Um, uh, I guess last year. I was expecting. I was hoping to have a role on that team, and I was hoping that we would be able to do well, and I was hoping to be a leader on that team, but it didn't end up working out. So they placed me on waivers, and then I ended up being released from the team. And then that night, I got a call from my agent saying, we're gonna have to look at other options in Quebec or Ontario. Just think about whether you'd want to go to Quebec. And I slept on it. In the morning, he called me and he said, "Yeah, this was I think it was a Friday." He said, "Yeah, we have an opportunity for you in Gatineau. They want you there Tuesday." I was like,
Mhm.
it was Friday, and I just found out that I had gotten cut from Niagara, and and I was like, yeah, like there wasn't really anything holding me back. It was a perfect place because it was right by Ontario, so it wasn't even like it was, all the way, you know, 10 hours away from Ontario. And it was a brand new rink, and it was a good team, and I saw that there was an opportunity for me to have a contributing role on the team. So I drove down that weekend, and yeah, I I had a pretty good first game to sort of get my name in there, and then ended up sticking. So I was really happy about that.
Mhm. Um, if we go back a little bit to talk about the pandemic, and especially for the world of hockey, where teams um, are built like a kind of a family,
Hmm.
where everyone is together. Um, Considering all the impact it had, what were the impact the pandemic had on you related to everything got changed
Yeah,
because of that?
yeah. I don't know. Like I guess the pandemic sort of, at least for me, put everything into perspective. How important a plan is, how important dedication is to a goal, how important the utilization of your time is. For me, I basically had a year and a half of off season. So it obviously it was difficult to not play, but it was important to take a look at myself and understand myself a little bit. It was
Mhm.
difficult not being able to see friends for a long time, and not being able to return back to normal life, and even I, because I was playing in the OHL, we didn't have a season. I lost my job, right? So, but
Mhm.
it gave me the time and opportunity, and I was fortunate enough that I had the support of my parents to live at home, and I didn't I wasn't losing out on income that I had to pay rent or anything like that. So I was able to take the time to understand myself, understand my goals, and take those goals and take actions towards those. So I think in terms of that, it was almost beneficial because otherwise I would have just continued playing in the whirlwind of hockey, and I wouldn't have been able to take that time.
Mhm.
But
And
yeah,
how do you train during the pandemic?
yeah. So well, at the start, it was just getting a program from my trainer at home, and I've got videos of me like putting like a vest and tying a dumbbell and doing squats, or like I have a shooting pad in my basement, which came in handy um, during the pandemic, because I was able to do some shooting, and then it was able to double as a, I guess, a makeshift gym. And then as things started to open up, my trainer, we would do small groups and wear masks and take all the proper precautions. and then then another shutdown would happen, and I would have to train at home, and then then things would open up, and it was just kind of like an endless cycle for me, where it was going through things shutting down, and training at home to going to the trainers when things opened up. Um, but we actually last May, things were shut down in Ontario. Our trainer and a group of like 8 other guys, we went to Florida for a month just so we could train, and that was a pretty awesome experience.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was just what we had to do to to take the next step, and my trainer always says, do what others don't, right? So that's what those were the steps we were taking.
Mhm. In retrospect, going back in the post pandemic season, how do you find your objectives uh, for 2022, 2022?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I had to adjust them a little bit. I'll be honest, right? Because I was stepping into Niagara hoping to play a contributing role on a team. That didn't work out, so I had to readjust my goals a little bit. You know, Getting picked
Mhm.
up by Gatineau, my goals just turned into proving that I belong there, right?
Mhm.
And so you're kind of in a fight or flight mode, and I chose to fight, and I was, of course, I think anyone would always want to be better, but I think I believe I proved that I belonged there, and I proved that I was a contributor to a winning team. And as those goals were adjusted, I appreciated the journey that got me there, and I appreciated the opportunity that I was given. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I'd be lying if I said like my goal wasn't to to play, of course, and it wasn't to play in Quebec that year. It was obviously to stay in Ontario, but that's not what happened. It was an unfortunate situation, but I tried to make the best out of it, right?
Mhm. In the circumstances, you did reach the objective that you had.
Yeah.
Okay. And the uh, do you have any superstitions before a game?
I honestly, I was pretty superstitious when I was playing in Ontario, and then for some reason, like, I kind of relaxed a little bit when I came to Gatineau. Um, but then, as I got more comfortable, you start to develop some superstition. So something I would do before every home game was I would play the speech from Any Given Sunday, the one that Al Pacino gives. I think it's like uh, it's something about like life is a game of inches. So I would do
Mhm.
that, and I would sit in the cold tub for about 2 minutes before every game. I think I would get there probably half an hour early, and then I would get in the tub about 15 minutes before we had our team meeting. So yeah, that was sort of like the superstition or routine that that sticks out the most when playing in Gatineau. And then little routines that you do that you pick up and then you drop like a little bit during the season. I don't know if you guys know Ollie, our media guy. He would every game I would have a piece of gum, and then I would come halfway through the warm up, and then he'd get the garbage and I'd throw it in the garbage, and that was sort of a little routine we had for a little bit. So yeah, like
Mhm.
little things like that. I would say like not super. Yeah, like that was just kind of a routine that I enjoyed doing, and then as I wasn't playing well, I was like, okay, Ollie, or I think we might have been on a little losing streak. I was like, Ollie, okay, might have to change it up a little bit. And, yeah.
Mhm.
So those were kind of my superstitions in Gatineau.
Mhm. As a forward player, is there any other player in the league that you find difficult to play against?
And something that was different for me was stepping into a new league. I didn't really know many of the players coming in. So it was almost beneficial because I would step into a game, I would look at their lineup and be like, I don't really know most of these guys, but I would say someone that I think really was difficult to play against was Roby Daw on Valdor. I really respected his style of play. I thought he was a hard player. He played hard, and I thought he was a good leader, but he was also skilled, and he he knew how to bury the puck, and I think he really led Valdor to challenge us last year. So yeah, I would say he was probably the best one of the best players.
Hmm. And the now moving to your school experience, um, you went to the CDS school. Do you think it put you on the right path
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
achieve your future goals?
I had a lot of support from my teachers at CDS. It was perfect for me because I was in a program called it was the high athletic program or something like that. I forget what it was called, but basically I was able to use my athletics, and I was able to get a high school credit, which would give me free time during the day to do extra homework. And the support of the teachers, they were always amendable to my hockey schedule. Like sometimes I would get home at 12 o'clock at night from a game, and I just wouldn't be able to go to school at like 7:30 in the morning. So sometimes I would be able. My teachers would be understanding when I had to sleep in a little bit. So yeah, I think that really set me up for success, and it showed me what being a successful person is like. Just the way that the teachers treat you, and the path that they set you on. I definitely think it was beneficial for me.
Hmm. Um, you're a very good student with high marks. You're also an athlete in hockey that takes a lot of time. Well, how do you make the balance between school and sport?
Yeah, that was definitely something. I think their slogan was education with balance, right? So obviously school was first growing up, but yeah, I had hockey, and I had goals for hockey as well. So it was usually just making the most out of the time that I had at the school, and obviously communicating with teachers, and then if I would just have to take the time before and after practice to get work done, right? Like it's just being committed, right? It's just something you have to be mindful of, and if you're committed, then you can't go wrong, because you being committed means you understand what it takes to to achieve what you're looking towards, right? So that was just the focus for me. And yeah, it was a really helpful environment to achieve that. So it was a good combination, good mix.
With your knowledge of math and science, okay, um, in which field you see yourself at in the university?
Right now, I'm studying business. My father was an entrepreneur. He owns a nutrition supplement company. So my grandfather was also an entrepreneur. So that's what I'm studying right now. I think I'm also deeply invested and knowledgeable in the crypto and Web 3.0 space. So that's something that I'm focusing on in university is business, and then in my free time I focus on cryptocurrencies and NFTs and Web 3.0.
Hmm. Um, where do you see yourself in give and take 5 years, considering the path that you're having right now?
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's a really difficult one, because I guess this is sort of the end of the 5-year window that I had set for myself when I was 16. So for me, it's that's something I'm thinking about daily, and honestly, I'm not quite sure where I'll be in 5 years. Of course, every guy will say I want to be playing NHL. I want to be playing in the NHL. But and of course that's the goal. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to do everything in my power that I can to make that happen. And I'm gonna. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Is figuring out how to get there. Right. And if that goal isn't achieved, making sure that you're in the best possible position to succeed otherwise, right? Um,
Mhm.
so yeah,
Mhm.
that's my answer, I guess.
in the uh, in your personality, um, what is in your mind your best quality, and also what is the flaw, like everybody else, you're trying to hide?
Hmm. I guess. Um.
And nobody's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I think. I would say I care a lot about everyone in my life. So my teammates and my friends and my family. I think I tend to put other people first. And I want everyone to succeed. And I think a flaw is that sometimes that can be a flaw in and of itself in terms of a lack of confidence or putting someone before yourself when you should actually be focusing on yourself. Um, and I know that sort of sounds cliche, but it was even something that like has been mentioned to me before is just more confidence in yourself because like I think it's hard when things don't go your way to stay confident, but you know it's definitely important if you want to if you want to to achieve your goals is believing in that. And sometimes I think, and especially the things that I've gone through this year can definitely take a hit on you, but just I think taking those hits and moving forward is something a part of life. But yeah, so I'd say I think something good about myself is I think I care a lot about people, and I think I would do anything for my teammates and my family, but at the same time that can be detrimental to myself.
Mhm. If you don't mind, we are going to finish the interview with a little 30-second sprint of questions.
Hmm.
And I'm going to give you quick questions, and we'll see if you can give us quick answer.
Okay.
Okay, what's your favorite song?
Oh, my favorite. Okay. I got a few. Probably. Oh man. All Falls Down by Kanye West right now, I think.
Okay, your favorite food?
Probably steak. Probably steak from Ruth's Chris Steakhouse,
Uh,
or Mannix Landry's steak. He cooked me a really good steak.
okay, your favorite movie?
Interstellar.
Your chip or chocolate?
Do I like chips or chocolate? I like chips.
Okay, swimming pool or whirlpool?
Swimming pool.
Campsite or cabin?
Cabin.
The Arctic or the Fiji Island?
Fiji.
Read a book or watch a movie?
I really love movies, so I would say watch a movie. But I think reading's important too.
uh, 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 Performing a superstition before a game or trying not to?
Doing a superstition before a game, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Jonah. You're being very, very generous of your time. It's very appreciated. And I hope we're going to have the chance to meet in person next season.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.